No, I'm starting this off because this is the end of the road. I'm going down.
Not tonight, no. Fighting, we've been fighting for so long now. Tired of trying, cause everything I do is wrong. I open my heart up to you. Now you act like there's an issue. Funny, but I still love you. I just need to know you want me to.
Welcome back, everybody. So today, y'all know what today is. It is the season finale of the season finale of the season finale. No, I'm just kidding. So today we're doing our final review of Married at First Sight season 12, the reunion part 2. As I said to y'all last week, I was like, I hope they don't drag this out, but they totally dragged this out. When it came back on, they picked back up on Chris and Paige, and Chris arguing with the pastor and being disrespectful. There's no way he could tell people that he's sorry and yet still be disrespectful to a pastor or a woman. And his excuse was that the pastor was belittling him because he said he tried to teach him or correct him. I think it was correct him. Excuse me, you guys. I'm a little tired, but I'm trying to get it together. I'm going to pull through for this last 2-hour segment. So he was a little upset about that. That's what's supposed to have triggered him and set him off. He wouldn't come back on with the pastor on set. As y'all know, he has to throw a temper tantrum every time he graces TV. So him and Paige sit down, and she's always like going to support him in some kind of way, as if they're still together, even though they say that they're not. Then, so, you know, Kevin, he talked to him and blah, 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 blah. And then he sends Chris off. You know, Chris apologized to him and Paige. But you guys know his apologies aren't worth the pennies we found on the ground, okay? So then after that, he left and Kevin was talking to Paige. And then he actually brought out Paige's friend, you know, the one who Chris made that comment to about Paige not being a trophy wife at the reception of their wedding. And she said, you know, it took a lot of grace for her to maintain her moment. And she didn't tell Paige because she didn't want to ruin Paige's day. And, you know, Paige was co-signing on that, but she stopped her and let her know. Like, had she had been able to see the future and know that he was going to be totally disrespectful consistently like that, she would have said something. And Kevin was like, well, everybody wanted to know where was Paige's people, you know, while she was going through this process. And she let him know, like, Paige's people was right there. It's just that we're not as graceful as Paige. So evidently Paige kept them away and out of the situation, so wasn't no extra bombshells dropping or flipping around. Paige's friend, you know, thank God for friends like her. So Kevin asked her, is Paige okay? And she was like, no, my friend is not okay. You know, she basically was trying to support Paige by saying, you know, this might be a blessing in disguise and things like that. But you guys, we all got to pray for Paige because this has been quite a ordeal. And her friend also said Chris is the true definition of why mental health in the Black community is important. So I mean, I think anyway, guys, that's the first round. Got anything to say, little baby?
Let's get into it. I'm on the scene with a gangster lean. Let's get it.
Ooh.
You guys. Go ahead. I know that's how you gonna start off. I got it.
You gonna hold it? Okay, so I was gonna say you guys, but since I am steaming right now. Okay, so we jumped from Chris and Paige, which, you know, the whole world is blah 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 about that. But we back to Jacob and Haley, and I feel like, you know, they got asked the same questions, but Kevin, my boy, I'm so mad at you. Like, Kevin was so focused on Jacob and what Jacob could have did better, and Jacob could have did this. He even brought up Doug and Jamie, basically saying that he doesn't feel like Jacob put his best effort forward. Do you agree with that?
Jacob did more than she did, way more than she did. Jacob probably came 70% and she came 30%, if that much.
Exactly. And Kevin was so focused on Jacob, like, you should have did this, you should have did that. Why didn't you do more? And he, he was basically saying she didn't like me in her space. And he gonna say, well, if a woman hates you, she wouldn't sleep with you. And he's like, yeah, she said she slept with me to hurry up and get it over with. So, and she did say that. Also, they brought up the bracelet. And forget the fact that Jacob has been saying since the beginning that Haley is kind of a liar. And, where we come from, people like to say light lie, white lie, whatever you want to call it. But a lie is a lie. And I'm with him on this one because Kevin didn't even mention the fact that Jacob and Haley had a whole conversation about that bracelet. Haley gets on the phone and tell her mom Jacob said he wants the bracelet back. That is not what that man said. He said, can you at least have the bracelet in the same zip code that you're in? He didn't say he wanted that bracelet back. She was being smart and gave him the bracelet back, so he took it and he turned it in. And he said, even just now, he understand if she didn't like it, all she had to do was say so, and he would have went with her to take it back to get something she did want. Like, he Amanda helped me mention this in one of our reviews before. The issue with the bracelet probably is that Jacob is not like a splurger. For him, it's about his house and technology. So buying a really $800 bracelet was a big deal that he thought would be appreciated. And she didn't show him no appreciation, like, as far as just wearing it. Not about sex or nothing like that, but just wearing the bracelet. Anyway, so this interview, I do not feel like Kevin did the best job because he said nothing to Haley about all the things that she did inappropriate. And, calling the man a liar, not wanting to talk to him, giving him the silent treatment. These are things we seen on camera. So, Jacob was definitely more passionate about the marriage than Haley was. But before we go off, you guys, my boy Jacob was not playing when it came to the reunion, okay? He had on himself some knee-out jeans or distressed jeans, whatever y'all call them. It's the distressed jeans, some red sneakers with his little black dress coat or whatever. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because one of Haley's super nitpicking things about him was she didn't like the way he dressed. Why are you wearing cowboy boots everywhere? Why are you wearing this and why are you wearing that? So anyway, yes, y'all could tell this a couple annoyed me because if she had even came a true 30%, they would have worked. She wasn't even a true 30%. She was on TV doing her bid. That was it. So, she was loyal to the show. And, he did the same thing because he signed up for it. But at the end of the day, she did not do her part. And you guys, if she's on social media, the people who know I'm telling the truth, y'all need to give it to her. Because at the end of the day, and I never say troll anybody, but it's not about trolling her. It's about she needs to check herself and look in the mirror and, be a better person. She's not nice. She was totally mean to him. Even just now. And Kevin, I am mad at you. You get a thumbs down. We want, what's her name? Jamie. I mean, no, not Jamie.
Kevin Frazier. Tag Kevin Frazier.
What's her name? Doug and, what's his wife? What's Doug's wife's name? How can I forget her name? Anyway, no. We want Doug's wife to do the interviews for now on. Kevin, you are fired.
Kevin Frazier.
Get out of here. Y'all tag him in this. And you need to make up for this because you was wrong for how you did my boy Jamie. Anyway, let's get back to the next piece.
Let's go.
All right, you guys. So I'm back. He's here, but he's not commentating today. I don't know what's going on with him. He gets a little quiet sometimes, I guess, when I get too emotional about these things. But anyway, so the next session was the fellas chit-chatting, and Kevin could not leave the Jacob and Haley thing alone. Am I right, man?
Mm-hmm.
So
Kevin love Haley.
Yeah. You know, so long story short, you know, he was just in general talking to the fellas and asking them, are they as close as the ladies are? And they all agreed that they are. Of course, besides the C word, who we shouldn't even be mentioning at this point. But he didn't even come on stage with the fellas. And they were saying, you know, if they was in his shoes, they would at least came to try to, you know, clear up some things on their side. But anyway, back to Jacob and Haley. The fact that Kevin is saying that because Doug and Jamie worked out because Doug, you know, took the abuse, but Doug also admits even to this day that, you know, he's good with dealing with awkward situations. He's been in them all his life. That's actually one of the things they talked about later about them getting together. But also after I think like the third episode, if y'all will see, Jamie started to change the way she was treating him. She went back and got their wedding photos redone. Like through this whole process, Haley has done nothing but badmouth Jacob and say that she's put all in. Only the experts like Dr. Pepper and them has gotten on her about what are you really doing, because Jacob has changed a lot of his self for her throughout the process. And she, you know, I don't know, you guys. I'm just not feeling that conversation. Y'all need to go to Kevin's page and go to Haley's page and let both of them know to get it together, okay? Mm-hmm. But anyway, the fellas are all tripping. They even played the clip when Jacob and Haley was in the bed and he was like, no spooning, no hugging, no this. And he was just going on and on. And by the time they turned the camera back on Ryan, he was falling over laughing about, you know, because everybody gets Jacob's humor besides Haley. She just used that as an excuse, you guys, to be rude. And the fact that Jacob calls her a liar. He even said just now, too, he said, you know, when this process was over, his intentions was to be at least her best friend, you know, because they shared so much through this process. But he's like, I can't deal with her. So this time he didn't call her a liar, but that's what he was referencing to, you know. Honor and integrity, okay? But anyway, you guys, it's back on. I'm mad at Kevin. I'm going to watch him the rest of this because he hosted it. But the next time, can we get Jamie to host it? From Jamie and Doug, you know, get my girl back on this show because Kevin is messing up. Mm-hmm. All right. Talked about, you know, Kevin asked who was their favorite couple. And of course, everybody says Vincent and Brianna because, you know, they were attracted from the altar forward and they just had good chemistry. And Dr. Viviana says she loved it. When they gave them advice, they put it into action. So that's why they are working. Then they jumped on Jacob and Haley. Mm-hmm. And it was funny, the hubby can agree that it seemed like Kevin and Pastor Cal wants to shake Jacob and say you could have did more, whereas Dr. Viviana and Dr. Pepper feel like Haley could have done a little bit better. But I was glad that Dr. Viviana and Dr. Pepper got to speak on Vincent's behalf because the guys feel like he should have just sucked it up that she wasn't attracted to him and still pursued her. But, you know, when you're married to somebody, it's very uncomfortable. And Dr. Pepper was pointing out, you know, they shot back a couple of clips and she said that Haley is very cold and she's not sure that Haley would match with anybody because she will always find something wrong so that she could run away. You got something to say, Ben?
I'm over it. That's a wrap for me.
Yeah, because
stick a fork in this thing.
Well, it is because, you know, like I said, they got a whole extra 2 hours out of this, but I'm glad that we had a chance. They probably could have did 2 hours and ended the whole thing, like the couples, and then with Pastor Cal and them. I do think it's good that they get a chance to come back and speak for themselves because, you know, a lot of people think that a lot of things was done for ratings, and they're saying, you know, we do put these people together, but we don't have any control on how they act in their marriage. Once they say I do, it's up to them to make the marriages work. This is still my favorite show, you guys. But anyway, we should be back.
Yeah.
So of course they get to Chris and Paige.
Chris and Paige.
And you know, Kevin hit the nail on the head when he said that basically Chris packaged himself so well. That's how he got,
on the show.
Yeah, past the experts. And then he said, "What about Broken Page?" So I gotta tell you guys, I'm just done with him since the Jacob thing. So whatever, Kevin. But I love Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. They came back and was like, nope, she's not broken. Dr. Pepper pointed out she stuck by, who she was spiritually, and what any good spouse is supposed to do in a marriage is see it all the way through, until they couldn't, even though they wanted to save her and wanted her to leave before she did. And then Pastor Cal said, Paige doesn't want to be seen as a weak shell of a woman, but, as the strong spiritual woman she is. And for all of us, we, if we do look at it from that perspective, it is true that she was pretty strong. Like, it is easier to run than to stand and deal with somebody's crap. And one of my favorite things I always tell people in life is it's all in what you can handle. There's somebody for everybody. And if Paige is Chris is somebody, who are we to judge? We ain't got to live with neither one of them. You know what I mean? But I am glad. I do think it is better for her to be out because, that was truly abuse. A lot of the stuff he did and said to her. And he is so manipulative. So I hope that some nice rich guy comes and picks Paige up and swoop her away so that she don't have to deal with the food. All right, you guys, we are coming down the stretch. Right, baby?
Mm-hmm. Finally.
He's over it. I told you this 2 more hours, another week was a bit much. But we do this for you guys. Anyway, so we had the couples conversation. They touched base on Eric and Virginia and him being controlling and how did they all feel about seeing themselves on TV. And they all feel some type of way, and then he was asking them like, what did, I guess you could say the fans, I would say the viewers, what was the things that the viewers said or did to them as the show played out. So for Ryan, they did a replay of him saying, "That's my jam." Every time he said something was his jam. And then for Vincent, he said they give him a hard time about when he was talking to the stripper before he got married. And they did a tribute to Jacob and his 80s movement. And still, Haley is the only one who had anything negative to say about it. Everybody else thinks it's hilarious, which is his whole point, right? And then they hopped over to Eric and Virginia and about how Eric, seemed bossy, controlling. But now it seems that, I think after Virginia watched it too, she realized how she sound. So she was like, I need to clarify. I didn't say I was going to stay at my friend's house. I said that's what I did. Listen, ladies and gentlemen.
She say that, but when she get drunk, she gonna be on that sofa.
Well, not only that, she was clearly saying that that's what she was gonna do. That's why Eric was like, no, you can't do that. So, anyhow, we're like I said, well, like he said, like we've saying, they are winding this thing down. They're dragging it out a bit. They're gonna come back one more time with the couples, and then it look like at some point they're gonna let the couples who are still married. They have a show called Couples Couch where they basically, are reviewing the show. So when they come back, the couples from Couple Couch get to ask these couples questions about their marriage. So you guys, I think this is the point where the husband usually say, you will see us when we're wrapping this thing up. We are over halfway through, you guys. We're doing this. We're doing this for you.
We're 95% through.
We're 90%.
95%.
I bet you it's going to be more than one commercial.
We're going to see you guys on the other 5%. Oh, what's up, man?
No.
That's it. We wrapping it up.
Guys.
What's the final words on this thing? Let's wrap this thing up.
Well, just kidding. So this was, when they popped back in, they let the other couples on Couples Couch ask everybody a question. Nobody really asked a real serious question. Claire got asked, is she part of the Mile High Club? Jacob got asked, did he have basic Caucasian sex in his sauna at his house? Eric did get this serious question. He was asked, would he recommend, a person who's been divorced to go through this process? Then they asked Virginia, who would she pick, Eric or her dog? And of course she said her dog.
Oh.
And wrapping up this season, you guys, from start to finish, if y'all have not watched our previous videos, please do so, because even though the show is over, you get to see the progress of how we watched it and how we seen things through our eyes.
But they usually take like a month break because they already got the next one coming up in Houston.
Well, they've been
like
doing
a month
these.
break?
No, they've been actually doing these a lot quicker. It used to be like once every blue moon, literally. So they already showing previews for the next one. I think, yeah, they already showing previews for the next one. So out of 5 couples, you got 1 that was a disaster, 2 that just weren't right for each other, and 3 couples that are still together.
And we're going to find out when the Houston start how many out of those 3 are still together.
Right, because then they have this thing called Couple Couch where they get all the couples that are still married together to support one another and review these shows for all the new people.
And now the challenge begins on how they go be without the cameras.
And without the counseling right there at hand.
Yeah.
So I think they overall to have 3 out of 5 couples is actually pretty good, to be honest. And of course y'all know they beefed up the number when they originally started. It only used to be 3 couples.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thank you guys for spending all 12, 14, how many episodes was it? 18 weeks?
I don't know, seems like 100 weeks.
He's just frustrated because towards the end they did drag the reunion out. But anyway, don't forget to comment down below, subscribe, hit that bell, follow us on all social media.
And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.